Hello, okay, good morning. So this is our first session, early morning. Good morning, Kwame.
Good morning, Mahlet. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Yeah, so because of time, we need to do this. I understand as fast as possible because of the urgent situations that we have in the Western Africa. Let me just kick the question. What do you think, it's what's happening in West Africa? We have Guinea first, the Coup, and then Mali, now Burkina Faso, and there are rumors that it's going to happen in other West African countries. Do you think this is related to what happened to Mali? It's something that is like going from one state to the other, and because they all have their own similarities, they used to be the French colonies. What do you think? What do you think is going on in the continent?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mahlet. I want to greet all our viewers on Connect African subscribers. And first of all, to encourage those ones who are just watching to subscribe and share the channel to other people and encourage other people to come and subscribe, because this is where we share information concerning the continent, concerning the state of the continent. The reason why we come out more often is for us to talk about the continent, because we, this generation, we understand that we have been given the task of completing the unfinished business. By the unfinished business, I mean the business that was not completed by the independence generation. That is Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and the rest who had ambitions of unifying the continent. Now, there is a couple of intervening problems in West Africa that are happening. But on top of those issues is the issue of neocolonialism and imperialism that is affecting these areas. There has been a lot of dissatisfaction with the activities of France in West Africa for a very long time. As we know, France is been very influential in this part of West Africa, in the Sahel, Niger, Mali, and all those parts. Now, this neocolonialism has pushed people, in the corner of poverty. People are impoverished. People don't have what to eat. The countries are not growing. In these countries, which are mostly former French colonies, and France has insisted that it has to stay with its slogans of democracy. Of course, with this kind of attitude, which has been in many times even thwarting and removing democratically elected governments, it has to blow back, because the people will be satisfied and they will resist against the existing governments. And this is what we saw in Mali, and what we are experiencing in Burkina Faso is a pushback, is the intervention, or is a mixture of these two forces, that we have African people on one side, and then we have France on the other side representing neocolonialism. France itself wants to stay on the continent, imposing itself. And by staying, we mean that France wants to continue the exploitation of the African resources. So whether that means through its corporations, which are controlling most of the logistics in West Africa, it owns most of the ports, starting from the Tema port, in the biggest port in Ghana, where goods come. They are controlling it. They are controlling a lot of things. They want to have control over the uranium in these areas. So one of the things they are accused of in Mali is sponsoring even terrorists, giving them weapons to destabilize the place. So this attitude, this neocolonial attitude and confusion, to create confusion and weaken states so that they can have an excuse of intervening, is what is causing a problem in West Africa. And it's not that this doesn't have a solution. This has a solution. The African heads of state have to insist. If you are a leader in any part of Africa, you should be concerned about what is happening all over the continent. The continent is ours. The leaders have to to stop neglecting their duty. France is a small country with 66 million people. So there's no way a country of 66 million people can dominate, a whole continent of 1.4 billion people. So the African leaders have to sit up. If you are a leader in Nigeria, a country of more than 300 million people, the Nigerian president should be, concerned about what is happening in Mali. He should be, if he's a real Pan-African leader, if he's a real African leader, he should be, responsible. He should be concerned about what is happening in Burkina Faso. So what I mean by this, we should resist. The African leaders, they have to resist the intervention of France, because France is what has caused most of the problems which we are seeing here. Now, when we go to Burkina Faso, personally, what I'm seeing in there is that France brought Blaise Compaoré, who was there for more than 20 years, more than 26 years, and he was brought by France resisting. He resisted. France resisted Thomas Sankara, because Thomas Sankara was so pro-African that he was advancing Africa and Burkina Faso, in a Pan-African, with Pan-African thought. So he was dangerous to them, because he was advocating for, national, industries, local traditions, industries in textile, locally manufactured food, all these, and removing importation. So they looked at him as an enemy of France, because France wants to dominate all over the place. And they brought Blaise Compaoré. Blaise Compaoré dominated the people without France saying anything. He dominated the place. So Blaise Compaoré, he was removed by the people. People resisted him, because he was even trying to tamper with the constitution so that he can extend his rule in the region, his rule in Burkina Faso. People resisted him. So now we have a democratically elected president. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that France may be behind this coup. France may be behind this coup. I see the hand of France behind this coup. How do you know? When you see the imperialists, the Europeans, the United Nations, the United States, and France, and giving lukewarm condemnation of a situation. Lukewarm condemnation. By lukewarm condemnation, I mean that they give soft, they attend to the coup in a soft manner. Okay, they respond in a way which you would say is negligible. It doesn't make sense even. So this is the condemnation that is coming out of France and the imperialistic camp. This is the condemnation that is coming out of the United Nations in the United States and the European Union. Or they are saying it is not acceptable to have a coup. It is not good to have a coup, to remove a democratically elected government. So this is why I see that they are behind this. Now, if they were not behind this and this coup was against real democracy as we know it, as we are supposed to know it, you would see them protesting. They would be protesting. If it was in the interest of democracy, these people, they would be protesting. So they would be jumping up and down, and even would be saying we should consider sending in a military force. But you are not seeing this. So this is where I'm seeing the hand of France and the United Nations and the imperialistic camp behind this coup. They may have caused this coup if we don't care, if we don't take care. And these things will turn up as we go. As time goes on, we will be able to discover this. Because there has been a tendency of neocolonialism to try to confuse us, who is behind which coup and who is behind which coup. You see, so you see the protestations against Mali is because that coup is for the people. The coup was for the people. They took it in the interest of the people. The coup in Burkina Faso, if you see now and in the future that they are not protesting so much about it, it is in their interest. They caused it because the president was making certain moves, because he was a democratically elected government, elected president. So he was trying to make certain moves that would give back the Burkinabe people their country. You see that in Ivory Coast, when Ouattara was extending his rule and changing the constitution so that he can run for a third term, no one protested. France did not protest. The United Nations did not protest. I'm talking about Ouattara, President Ouattara in the Ivory Coast. They never protested. These people never protested. France never protested. It was supporting. The United States never protested. That this is usurping the power of the people. That this is the violation of democracy. And this was absolute violation of democracy. So if it is democracy, we have to hold it as absolute. Democracy has to be absolute. That the people must be supreme. The people must be supreme in the country. That is what democracy means. So, but if we allow Ouattara in Ivory Coast, to change the constitution and run for a third term, and if France doesn't protest, then we know that imperialism now here is at work. It is at work. So these are the things which we are supposed to study and understand and say, no, we are supposed to stand for the side of democracy. So the confusion that is going on in West Africa, we have imperialism at play, very, very strong imperialism, and Western imperialism, especially from Europe, France, the United States. It is so much at play. So these things are very connected to what is even happening around the world. You are saying that they are attacking Russia because Russia has been helping in Mali to protect the people's rights over there, because President Goita in Mali took a strategic move. President Goita in Mali took a strategic move that he got some help for security, to build up a strong security in Mali, so that the imperialists will not be able to overthrow the people's government, the government in Mali, which is representing the people. Now they are rising up against Russia. All the imperialist countries, Germany, France, Canada, the United States, all of them have ganged up. Sweden, all these European countries which have been neo-colonial in nature, Belgium, they are pushing troops at the border of Russia to try to fight China. They are pointing weapons at China. They have mobilized the soldiers and the troops, and so it is like another World War III right now that we are about to experience. And they are provoking, constantly provoking, because of greed. These countries are greedy. They have been exploiting the world. Now when the world pushes back, now they say, oh, democracy is at stake. But they have been destroying us. They have been killing us. They have been colonizing us and brutalizing our people. 12 million people alone killed in the Congo just for the development of Europe. 50 million people taken from Africa as slaves. The wars which have followed after independence, you don't count them. The Biafra war, which we have fought against, the African people, it was wars which were instigated from outside by corporations, Shell and Total from France. So this is the problem now we are facing, that we have to understand, like Nkrumah said, we have to understand and expose imperialism in all its ways, because it is now operating in a political, information, religious, and education, and everywhere in the economic sphere. They are operating in all these, in the media. So we have to understand this before we can attack the problem.
Yeah,
so,
and the sad thing is we are allowing it to happen, in front of our eyes. The thing is, it's one important point you said, is when everybody, like those Western countries, are behind the government, that's like, who is he? That's when you have to go and check the background of that man, how he came to power or how she came to power.
You always have to check.
When they are, as I said, softly, when they are soft in the condemnation and, and trying, or in the other ways also, when they are totally condemning the government and defaming,
you have to check.
What did he do to his people?
You have to check.
When you say, okay, maybe he's doing something good to the people. So exactly, that's pointed out right.
So what they are saying actually is that President Kabore has been causing insecurity in the country. You see, France is the one who has monopoly over the former French countries, monopoly over the security, because it tells those countries where to buy the weapons. Last day we had Traore here, from Mali, giving us what happens. That France has prohibited its former, colonies from buying weapons anyway. So they are saying, look at what France is saying. France is saying that President Kabore in Burkina Faso has been causing insecurity. How long has he been there? Less than 5 years. He has just been re-elected in 2020. And you are saying he has been causing insecurity, that he has, they said that he has starved the security apparatus of the right tools to fight terrorism. Really? President Kabore, who came recently here after the overthrow of Blaise Compaoré, France has been there. You see, France has been in Mali. They are accusing France of causing insecurity in France and in the Sahel, and bringing troops and arming jihadists and arming terrorists like Al Qaeda, who have crossed into the Sahel all the way from Libya, all the way, and then before they came to Libya, they were in the Middle East, in Iraq, in Syria. So who opened up? France was one of the countries who invaded the Middle East together with the United States, and they opened up. They came and again, France led with the United States the attack on Libya, and they opened up that route, and that is where the ISIS and Al Qaeda, they came through, and they came through Libya from the Middle East, and they entered, and now they are in the Sahel. So this was an excuse for the imperialists to try to intervene in Africa and take over the continent with the pretext of providing security for Africa. You see, so this is where we are seeing the problem. That's is the problem. So they are the ones causing this, and now they are accusing it on the ousted Burkina president, and the guy who I think he's called Henrik or something. The guy who is the soldier who led the coup, he has attachments. If you check in the background, he has attachments to France. So we have to be careful. We have to watch what is happening there, but we have to keep checking in the background what is in the background.
That's why you called it confusion. Very interesting. Now there is this thing, you know, as you touched it, you know, there is this common issue: jihadists, terrorists everywhere. You know, it's not only in West Africa, we have also in the Horn of Africa. Can we say that this is something that's operated from one place, you know, controlling the whole continent? And also together, if you can tell, what has been the response of ECOWAS so far? Like, are they condemning what's happening in Burkina? They're just watching and, you know, letting it to develop. And also we have coming up the AU summit, you know, it's around the corner. And what do you think AU should take? You know, what kind of action AU should take? Yeah.
So somewhat the leadership, I'll start with from the last part. The leadership is been very disappointing to the African people, that they know what the problem is, but they don't want to address the problem entirely. They know that the problem we are facing is the problem of imperialism and neocolonialism. That is the biggest problem which we are facing. Now, the AU is being denied. The AU, they denied it power from the very beginning, that the heads of state, they are the ones with the power. So before they have said anything, the AU cannot act. And these guys, they have refused to act. And the same guys, they constituted the ECOWAS and the East African Community and the SADC and all the other organizations, or whether you're talking of Maghreb and COMESA. These guys, they are the ones, they are the heads of state. They are the ones who give it power. And instead of using democracy, the same democracy, to liberate their people from the shackles of economic colonialism, because they are getting the benefits, they don't want to do it, or they fear to do it. You see, they have this fear of the white people because of blackmail. They will blackmail them. Some of them, they fear to die. You see, so they end up neglecting the people. And this is why I say that it is our generation. Our generation is the one with the responsibility to take on this, understand this, how to use the technology, to use the media that has been liberalized, like what happened in Ethiopia. The people have been able to help Ethiopia to get back on its feet when it was under attack by neocolonialism. So the same tools which they are using, the human rights and democracy, is the same tools we are supposed to use. We are supposed to concentrate on to defeat them, to defeat imperialism, because they have been saying they are here for human rights. So we are supposed to point out the human rights they have been violating all over. They have been violating human rights in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Somalia, everywhere. So this, to me, I see it as a coordinated attack to answer the question from the beginning, that these people opened up, they went to Iraq. This was a coordinated. When you listen to one of the, I don't remember the American general from the military who said that he went to Pentagon, and they told him that they brought out a paper, a script, that we are going to attack this country and this country and this country. From Iraq, we will go to Libya, we will go to Afghanistan. From Afghanistan, we will go to Iraq. From Iraq, we will go to Syria, we will go to Sudan. And this is what has happened. like he said it. So it is a coordinated, it is a planned thing. It is a planned strategy of keeping imperialism afloat. Because remember, in Libya, when Libya was functional, China was there working with President Muammar Gaddafi. So they want to push out China so that they can stay in control of our resources. This is the strategy. So they opened up, they attacked all these countries in the Middle East, and then they came in the north to open up Libya, because Libya was a security point, against terrorists entering from the Middle East to come to Africa. Ever since they opened up Libya in 2011 and they overthrew the president, do you know when the French troops came into Mali? In 2013, just 1 year. In just after 1 year, they came to Mali. France was able to deploy troops in Mali. You see, so this is a coordinated attack that ever since 2011, when they opened up Libya, the jihadists came in the continent, and we don't know whether those jihadists are being built up in the Middle East by the same imperialists. It's likely they are training them there so that they can push them in the continent, and then in turn they can come to the continent with the excuse of wanting to stop terrorism. And then in this stopping terrorism, they keep arming these guys, like what happened in Mali. The people in Mali, they realized that France is sponsoring the same jihadists they are trying to fight. So that is why recently the Malian government came up and said Denmark troops, which are led by France, they have to go. They have to come out from the country. So they have expelled them because they have realized the problem. So the African leaders, they know the problem. They know the problem, but they keep massaging the problem. They keep pretending like they don't know the problem. The ECOWAS knows the problem, and it has to insist on protecting the people. The people are behind you. If the people are behind you, there's no reason why you don't act on behalf of the people. The people are behind you, the presidents of ECOWAS. So why do you go around beating around the bush? And you don't want to solve the problem. The people in Mali, they have been alienated from the fruits of the land. So why you come why do you come with sanctions? You should not come with sanctions. Address the problem. The people in Burkina Faso are suffering because of imperialism that is dominating them. So don't pay them lip service and condemning. You condemn the coup. Go back and study what is behind the coup. So if President Kabore was helping and fighting for the people and trying to put things in order in the country, and France did not like it, this could be the problem. This could be the root cause of the problem. Is the same thing which was happening in Ivory Coast. In Ivory Coast, President Gbagbo was trying to put things in order in Ivory Coast and bring and remove French influence from Ivory Coast and give the country back to the African people. Give back the cocoa to the African people. Give back the industry, the logistics, and all those sectors, all the energy sector, which are dominated by France. This is what Gbagbo was trying to do. They came up running and saying he's a dictator. Oh, we should put Ouattara. They came in with the military, with military aggression, and they overthrew.
Very embarrassing what happened. Yeah.
Yes. They came in running and behind the United Nations, and they overthrew President Gbagbo immediately, and they put Ouattara. So this is what we are supposed to study. We are supposed to study imperialism from A to Z and understand how it operates. We are supposed to study it. Nkrumah left the books for us to study them. Neo-colonialism, the last stage of imperialism, he has written extensively on how to study imperialism. You have to understand that Nkrumah was someone who was in power, and he was at the top dealing with imperialism head on and watching it. He used to collect information from all around the imperialist camp, because he had the embassies to collect the information. So he wrote a book based on experience, head-on experience, first-hand experience with imperialism. So we are supposed to study and and uncover this confusion. This is just confusion. They're just creating confusion. So we as Pan-Africans, we are supposed to be clear in understanding how they are playing, because they play like this. They go in the back, they go in the front, they will go in the back, then they will go in the front, so that they can confuse you, so that you will not understand. So you may think that a coup is just a coup. No, a coup is not a coup. A coup is done by certain players, by certain interests. And in this case, for the African situation, we have two groups. We have imperialism, okay, which is using some of the leaders on the continent and it is constantly hijacking that level of our leadership, the political leadership. And then we have the African people on the other side. So we have imperialism on one side, we have the African people on the other side. So these two groups are constantly pushing back against each other. So the African people want to, to take back the countries for their own good, for their own economic development. Imperialism wants to continue to take the countries and exploit them for the benefit of Europe and the United States. So this is what is happening now. So it is just a confusion but the Pan-Africanists are supposed to come out and make the people understand what is going on, analyze the situation for the people, and tell them what is going on. So this is what I'm saying, my sister, in the situation that is happening in Burkina Faso.
Thank you very much, Kwame Gonza. Really, in the time that you spared to us and shed light what's happening in Burkina Faso, and I'm sure that as many of us, we are still waiting for the developments and what's happening in other countries in West Africa, and you will come again and share with us the developments and to put direction what in the future, in the near future, actually in the coming days, what we are going to do at Connect Africa is to bring Africans and to discuss what can we do, how can we help Malians, how can we help Burkinabes, how can we help them to mobilize in media.
We have to mobilize against imperialism and neocolonialism. The problem is neocolonialism. We have to mobilize against it like how we mobilized for Ethiopia.
Exactly.
We have to mobilize all over the continent. We, the people, we, the young people, this is our duty. Imperialism cannot hide anymore. Information, the access to information and the media has been liberalized, has been democratized. Okay, the access to information and the media has been democratized. There's no reason for us not to know what is happening all over the continent. So we should mobilize once and for all assault on imperialism so that we can push it out of Africa. We, the young people, I think we can do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kwame. And also on the sideline, what has to be done proportionally is also to have our own media, our own platform, so that the media platforms that we are using, if they are again owned by those who are posing these threats against the peoples, African peoples, then again sooner or later we are going to lose that opportunity. But anyway, we are not even there to use 1% or 2% of even what we have so far, so we have to use it. Thank you, Kwame. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Until next time. Bye.